Most of us spend our days completely lost in thought, preoccupied with the past or caught up in some imagined version of the future. And during those times, we're nowhere. The truth is, we're now here, grounded in the present moment, far less often than we might think. At first glance, the difference between nowhere and now here is just a space between letters. But in life, that space means everything. Neuroscientist Christof Koch described it this way in a short Big Think video, which I'll link in the description, where he talks briefly about his study of consciousness. The way he framed the idea of presence and unconsciousness as being now here and nowhere really struck me. It was simple yet profound. When you reflect on it, you start to notice it everywhere. For anyone who's ever had a pet, for example, you know that you're now here, grounded in the present moment when you're spending time with them. You're playing with them, you're petting them, bringing them for a walk. But you're nowhere when you're doom scrolling on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and you're losing minutes, if not hours, that you can't get back. But you're now here when you're sharing a meal with family or friends. Even after a rough day or a long week, you're laughing together, you're talking about your day, you're savoring the food and drink that's right in front of you, no matter how simple that meal might be. You're nowhere when you're stuck in your head and you're reliving the stress of the workday or worrying about what needs to get done tomorrow. You're physically there, sitting at the same table, but you're missing out on the good food and the good company right in front of you. I've caught myself there before, where I'm smiling, I'm nodding, only partially engaged in the conversation, while my mind is replaying something that happened earlier or maybe an email that I could have written differently. But when I finally tune back in, the stories, the laughter, even the taste of the food starts to feel completely different in the best way possible. You're nowhere when you've numbed yourself with 5 too many episodes of your new favorite show on Netflix. And you're really tired, you're feeling restless, but you can't seem to put your finger on it. But you're still not satisfied, and you don't know why. You're now here when you're in a state of flow, in the middle of your favorite activity or hobby, whether that's spending quality time with your kids, or cooking, or sketching, or maybe even writing a script for your YouTube channel. You're nowhere when you're stuck in traffic, right? And you're frustrated and you're gripping the wheel really tightly and you're thinking, how do some of these people even get their license? But I've noticed that I can be in that same situation, that same traffic jam. And the moment I choose to consciously loosen my grip, take a deep breath, and put on some of my favorite music, the frustration doesn't vanish, but I stop fighting against it. And the traffic still isn't fun, but you know what? It isn't such a big deal anymore. You're nowhere on the bus or train during your commute. You're feeling tired, impatient, and you're counting down the stops until you can get off. But you're now here when you notice the gentle sway of the train. You notice the sunlight flickering through the window. Maybe you smile when you see a toddler playing with their parents and they happen to turn over, glance at you, and smile. It's all perspective. And in that moment, you're consciously choosing to embrace the moment and to make the most of the ride. You're nowhere at work when you're jumping between multiple tabs. Multitasking is what we call it. But let's be honest, sometimes you're just not making any progress. But you're now here when you pick only one thing to work on, you close all the other tabs, you set aside all the work chat windows, and you put an end to all distractions, and you let yourself sink into that task at hand. The work might still be challenging, but it feels different when you're present. You're nowhere when you're rushing through chores like dishes or laundry, just trying to get them over with. But you're now here when you notice the warm, soapy water in your hands, or the clean smell of the fresh laundry, and the soft materials of the clothes that you're folding. For a moment, it's no longer a chore, it's just life happening, and you're moving with the flow, as opposed to resisting it. You're nowhere when you call it rest, but you lie in bed scrolling on your device and your body's kind of buzzing, your mind's unsettled. But you're now here when you put your devices away, when you pause and you feel the softness of your pillow, the weight of the sheets covering you, the rise and fall of your breath just as you're dozing off. And that's rest. That's real rest. You see, the situations don't always change. The traffic, the chores, the commute, the work, none of that will suddenly just disappear. That routine will always still be there, at least for now. But the difference between nowhere and now here is presence. The choice to consciously show up for yourself from one moment to another is yours to make. Not someday, not later on in some distant future, but now. So let me ask you this. Where are you right now? If you found something meaningful here, please make sure to subscribe and help grow this mindful community, a place for intentional content that I hope can help make us all feel a bit more peaceful. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.